Week 2 of the NFL season was wild. It had everything. Dominant performances, comeback wins, a lot of great passing performances from these QBs like that one, and a lot of great catches on both sides of the ball, not just my catch. We're going to get into a lot of great catches from Week 2. It is the HBCU NFL Report on HBCU Game Day, where we keep you guys updated on your favorite Black college football stars in the pros. As always, I am Symone, joined by Lute. And Lute, what a week.
Absolutely. A week full of surprises, some teams 2-0 that nobody expected to be 2-0. At the top of my list is the Miami Dolphins. A big 42-38 comeback win over the Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens. And how about this? Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah,
I don't even know why. Luke, don't try to pronounce names you know you don't know.
469 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 11 receptions each by Tyreek Hill as well as Jalen Waddle. 11 receptions each, both over 160, 70 yards. Unbelievable. Who would have thought? But look, protecting his blind side, or really his front side, since he's a left-hander, is Teron Armstead out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, another HBCU veteran. In fact, the most tenured veteran in the NFL. So they really put up a lot of numbers. 469, that's the largest passing day of the year so far. So Miami takes the cake for me this week in terms of the team of the week.
Now, Tua put up almost 500 passing yards. Luke, we've watched a lot of football on a lot of different levels. I've never seen so many yards in that column, the passing column. And everybody talked about the big addition of Tyreek Hill, but they gave Teron Armstead the bag too, and that was obviously important, protecting Tua and making sure that he could get the ball to Jalen Waddle and to Tyreek Hill. I want to talk about another passing performance. Luke, Joe Flacco. I know you know him very well. You're a Steelers fan. Joe Flacco is starting, and he's playing really well. He had 4 touchdown passes versus the Browns. I thought the Browns were supposed to have this fire defense. I forgot Joe Flacco was even in the league, let alone starting and putting up numbers like that.
Well, let me tell you how far I go back with Joe Flacco. I remember he's a transfer from Michigan who finished his career at the University of Delaware. And the first time I ever heard of him, they played Delaware State in the 1AA playoffs. And they had this guy named Joe Flacco. Well, little did I know he would end up being, I think it was a first-round draft choice or an early-round choice for the Baltimore Ravens. And that's the reason I know him so well in terms of those AFC Central battles with the Steelers. I hate the Ravens. And obviously, I hated Joe Flacco. I loved when Troy Polamalu would sack him and the rest of the Steelers, James Harrison, would throw him down and stomp on him. So for him to come back with a second life, even maybe the third life, as now the starter for the New York Jets. Not just the starter for the New York Jets, but the 2-0 New York Jets. And when was the last time we've seen the Jets at 2-0? But they're doing a good job so far under head coach Robert Saleh.
For sure. I'm going to have to, circle that Jets game maybe. I had already chalked that off as a win. But you touched on your Steelers a little bit. I'm sorry, Luke. We got to talk about y'all a little bit. You know how we always talk about our teams a little bit in the beginning. What's going on?
Well, message to Mike Tomlin. Bench Mitch Trubisky. Let us see Kenny Pickett. The Steelers fans in Pittsburgh, the game this week against the Patriots was in Pittsburgh, and they were, by the second quarter, they were chanting, Kenny, Kenny, Kenny. We need Kenny Pickett. He's a younger guy. He plays, he takes chances. Right now, we are throwing 3-yard passes on 3rd and 8. I don't understand it. So bring in somebody that's going to take some chance. I'll take some turnovers or some interceptions. Just throw the ball down the field. And Trubisky, and listen, Mike Tomlin is saying he's going to be patient with the offense and Mitch Trubisky. Well, Coach Tomlin, I'm not being patient. I want him out of here now. So that's how I feel about the Steelers so far.
And you're not the only one, Luke. I was watching that game. For some reason, my CBS down here in Atlanta, I'm always getting the Steelers game. There's not much you can do play calling wise when you got Mitch Trubisky under center. And y'all got a good one in Deontay Johnson. He seems like he's going to be a legit playmaker. I would want to see more risky play calling, but it's only so much you can do with Mitch Trubisky. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and they seem like they're trapped. Like the defense, you know, we're not running the ball. Well, our probably weakest part of our game is the offensive line. You know, so we're not running the ball well. So it makes it hard for him to throw. But I just can't stand these little down and out passes all day long. Throw the ball down the field. And I think if they give Pickett a chance, he'll do that. So what about your Eagles? The Eagles got a big win.
What about us?
What, 2-0, right?
2-0. Last week I ended this video saying I was scared for Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook to come to town. Them boys ain't do nothing last night.
Shut them down.
Clamps. You know what I'm saying? Javon Hargrave, former South Carolina State University Bulldog, played over 60% of the snaps at defensive tackle. Dalvin Cook, I know, felt a lot of Javon Hargrave last night. We dominated. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you did. And Jalen Hurts was excellent. I'm still worried, though, because in some of those situations where I think he needs to come through, he kind of comes up short. That little interception on that little screen pass, I was like, come on, Jalen, you can't make those kind of mistakes. But, you know, he's proven everybody wrong, including Nick Saban, who took him out in favor of Tua back in the day. Right. Jalen Hurts is proven to be a quality starter in the NFL. And keep this in mind, Jalen Hurts had a brother who played quarterback at Texas Southern University. So he's got
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jalen is from Texas, and his brother Avion Hurt was the quarterback at Texas Southern about 4 years ago. He's a little ahead of Jalen, but he definitely played. His dad is a high school coach in the Texas state, and he's developed quarterbacks. So I like Jalen Hurts, and I'm glad he's doing such a good job for the Eagles.
I could not be more glad, Lou. And you bringing up these HBCU Nuggets, perfect time to jump into our standouts of the week. LA Rams versus the Atlanta Falcons. I had no idea the Atlanta Falcons would be able to hang around as much as they did with the Rams. We had HBCU playmakers on both sides of the ball for both teams. Let's get into it. Who is the defensive player of the week? The people should already know.
Yeah, they should know because he's gotten a lot of publicity, both on the Rams website as well as nationally, because he's a rookie, first of all. 4th-round pick out of South Carolina State. We used to call him Decobie. He now goes by Decobie Durant. And he not only had a second-quarter interception that he almost took to the house, returned it 51 yards down to the Falcons' 7-yard line, but he also had a corner blitz and sack, very reminiscent of what he did to Shedeur Sanders in the Celebration Bowl back in December. He came off the edge and had a sack of Marcus Mariota. He also picked Marcus Mariota, got a ball that bounced off Cordell Patterson that he almost took to the house. So to have an interception and a sack in your first real action in the NFL says a lot about Decobie Durant. And even Coach Pugh down there is, I'm sure, delighted that he's got another one of his charges that's in the league making a difference.
So Steve posted a quote from head coach Buddy Pugh, and he was like, how did you let Marcus Mariota tackle you and run you down? Exactly. I'm surprised. I didn't know Marcus had that in him, running somebody down. We know Kobe is fast. He's known for his speed.
And he was within a hair's breadth of taking it all the way, but Mariota came up and tripped him, and then the lineman kind of put him on the ground. But he was saying in his interview, Decobie Durant was saying that he thought he was taking it to the house. That's all he could think was, as he said, I was taking it to the crib. But a great game for Decobie Durant. Happy for the young guy. He came in because one of their defensive backs got hurt, and we've been talking about him since the preseason, that they were high on him, that they liked him, that he didn't go on the practice squad at all. He came right to the 53-man roster, but in the first week, he only played special teams. But this week, he came through. You can imagine being a Super Bowl champ and having a young kid like that has got to be big news for the Rams.
On the other side of the ball, the Atlanta Falcons put up 27 points against this elite Rams defense. I was surprised by that, and we had a standout on the Atlanta Falcons offense.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Out of Prairie View A&M, Kadero Hodge, wide receiver, out of Prairie View, had a great game. Only had 2 receptions, but 1 reception was for 39 yards or 38 yards. His other reception was for 19 yards. So he was the second leading receiver for the Falcons in terms of yardage. He started the first game, which was a little surprise because he's kind of this is his third team in 5 years in the NFL. He's played for the Lions, and I've forgotten the team he originally started with, but he's played very well and proven himself not only as a productive wide receiver, but also on special teams. And he did both this week. He gets the Offensive Player of the Week nod for those 2 receptions for 57 yards.
Next week, the Atlanta Falcons face the Seattle Seahawks. The Falcons 0-2. The Seahawks, they're not looking that scary. I think we might see more Kadarius Hodge and Quentin Bell on defense for the Atlanta Falcons next week. But on special teams, the Giants, and I marked the Giants off. Y'all know I'm an Eagles fan. Giants 2-0. I'm about to start looking in closely to what they got going on up there in New York. Our special teams player of the week is a New York Giant. Who is he?
Is Jamie Gillan out of Arkansas Pine Bluff. They call him the Scottish Cannon. He's the punter out of Pine Bluff. Averaged over 50 yards again for the second week in a row. The other special teams candidate was Trenton Cannon out of Virginia State. But on the first play of the game against the Buffalo Bills last night, he went out with a knee injury. Haven't heard the final report on him, but they had to cart him off. This is not during a return. This was just a kickoff that ended up being a touchback, but they had to cart him off the field with a knee injury. Doesn't look good for Trenton Cannon, but we'll keep our eye open and maybe give you a report next week in terms of how he's doing.
So those are the superlatives. I never know how to say that word. So I got on you earlier about saying words you didn't know, Luke. Superlatives.
That's it.
That's what I get for getting on you earlier about saying words you didn't know. But those are the superlatives. You learn something new every day. Let's get into a little bit of the news and notes. Somebody I'm looking out for, Shaquille Leonard. The Colts, they're looking so bad. 0-1-1, excuse me. They tied with the Texans. I thought that would be an easy win for them. Then this week they played the Jags. The Jags not playing around. The Jags spanked the Colts this week. I want to see Shaquille get back healthy and, help out the Colts a little bit.
Yeah, well, when you start thinking about the Colts and the fact that they are winless so far this season, you have to think that his absence has something to do with that. He's such a critical part of that defense, leader of the defense, captain of the defense. For him to be out of it takes, one of their key cogs on the defensive side of the ball. Haven't heard yet when he's coming back. I'm sure we check the Colts website. We'll know something before the week is over, whether he will play in Game 3. But yeah, the Jaguars got a big win, shut out the Colts, unheard of.
Matt Ryan, 3 interceptions. 3. That has nothing to do with Shaquille Leonard. That got nothing to do with Shaquille.
And listen, the Matt Ryan was supposed to be the quarterback, like the quarterback from the Rams that went over from Detroit to the Rams. They were supposed to be an experienced quarterback who's put up big numbers but hadn't won.
Right.
They were expecting that Matt Ryan would do the same thing for the Colts, but so far, no deal.
No deal. And it's looking like bad news for the Colts. Over the past couple of years, the Colts just can't get it right at quarterback. Andrew Luck was great, but he could not stay healthy, ended up retiring early. I don't know why they traded for Carson Wentz. I could have told them how that would go. That didn't go good. Now they get Matt Ryan. They just strike it out in Indy.
Yeah, and I like Indy. I think that they have a lot of elements in place, but you're right. They haven't been able to get that quarterback slot solidified, so to speak. So I'm sure they'll be looking forward to Shaquille coming back. When he gets back, I think the Colts will get healthy.
We're going to be on the lookout for that. So lastly, you wanted to talk a little bit about Marquis Bell. Maybe he'll get some action. They play the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys play the Giants next week. Marquis Bell, he did suit up, right, this week?
Yeah, he suited up this week, but he got in only on special teams plays. He made 9 special teams plays, did not have a stat, did not have a tackle. But, we said a couple of weeks ago when the season started, wanted to see how these rookies would be used. Joshua Williams, the first guy that went off the boards from the HBCU ranks that went to Kansas City, he also played this week, but he didn't have a stat. He was strictly on special teams. So we can say Decobie Durant is the first one to kind of break through from that draftees to to actually get some time on the field and actually make an impact, I'd say a splash, as he did this week. So we'll still keep our eye on to see if Marquis Bell or Joshua Williams or even Deshaun Dixon for Jacksonville, who also was inactive this week and didn't play. We're going to see how those rookies, we'll keep our eye to see how they, try to, make their way in the NFL. But Decobie Durant is off to a great start.
Off to a great start. Well, guys, this is week 2 edition of the HBCU NFL Report, where we keep you guys updated on some of your favorite Black college football stars in the pros, and also along the way, updated on the Steelers and Eagles, because, that's we're the hosts. We got to talk about them a little bit. But he is Luke. I am Symone. This is HBCU Game Day. Thank you guys so much for joining us.